Hello, everyone. It's David Hookstead. We are back with another History Explainer. It's been a little bit since we last did one of these. I'm excited to be back doing another one. Before we get started, I need everyone to please like and subscribe and comment with your thoughts on the video. That is, like and subscribe. It really helps with the channel growth. It really helps get our message of veterans and war heroes out there. So please, before we dive in, I would really appreciate it if you can like and smash the subscribe button. Now, what are we talking about today? The big topic that we're talking about today is, why was SEAL Team 6 chosen for the Osama Bin Laden raid over Delta Force? Now, this is a topic that has been debated to no end on YouTube, on Reddit, on websites. Everyone wants to know, why was SEAL Team 6 chosen over Delta Force for the May 1st, 2011 raid into Abbottabad, Pakistan, take out al-Qaeda leader Osama Bin Laden, who famously was the mastermind of the 9/11 terror attacks. Well, let's start at the base level, the facts. The facts of the matter are that about, I believe, 23 operators from Red Squadron of DEVGRU, also known as SEAL Team 6, flown by pilots from the 160th SOAR Regiment, which is the best pilots in the world. They are the Night Stalkers. You cannot find better helicopter pilots than them. They flew deep into Pakistan in the late night, early morning hours, conducted a raid that killed Osama Bin Laden on the third floor of his house. There's a lot of debate about who the real Bin Laden shooter was. That's a video for another time. Today we're discussing why SEAL Team 6 and not Delta Force was chosen. Now, if you get online, you'll hear all these rumors, all this speculation, and we're going to run down a couple of those essentially from the top, and we're going to debunk them before we get into the truth, which I've confirmed with multiple sources, not just from Delta, not just from SEAL Team 6, not just from the intelligence community, but actually Tier 1 operators from units outside the United States that found out information as well. So 4 different sources this information comes from. It is the correct answer. It is the only answer for why SEAL Team 6 went instead of Delta Force. But before we do that, let's debunk a lot of the rumors. The biggest rumor you'll hear is that SEAL Team 6 was chosen because they're simply better than Delta Force. That is not true. SEAL Team 6 is a Tier 1 direct action hostage rescue unit, which means they can do counterterrorism raids, they can do combat elimination, they can do hostage rescue. What does Delta Force do? They do the exact same thing. They do hostage rescue, they do combat clearance, they do direct action, they do vehicle interdiction. Delta Force certainly does have more of an intel capability than SEAL Team 6. SEAL Team 6 trains a lot more on the water, though. Those are a couple different things right there. It had nothing to do with whether or not SEAL Team 6 was better than Delta Force. If you had taken any one of the 4 Delta Force assault squadrons, which we're going to get into here in a second, and any one of them had done the mission, the result would have been the exact same. Osama Bin Laden would have been killed. All the same people who died, who got in firefights, they all would have died. Skill level had absolutely nothing to do with it. I cannot stress that enough. You see this rumor all over Reddit. Well, SEAL Team 6 is better than Delta Force. How do we know? Because they got the Bin Laden raid and Delta Force didn't. Complete nonsense. It's 100% false. It is false according to SEAL Team 6, guys. It is false according to the intel people involved. It is false according to Delta Force, guys. Everyone in the know knows that's false. The only people who believe that's real is people on Reddit who don't know anyone involved, haven't spoken to anyone, haven't interviewed. So that's the number one. That's the number one false claim about why SEAL Team 6 went. The second false claim that you hear a lot, and I think I'm actually kind of responsible for this one, unfortunately, due to an interview I did a while ago, which is a great interview, by the way. There's this idea that Delta Force had the opportunity to do the Osama Bin Laden raid. A former operator kind of implied this, and they chose to not do it. That is false. That is not true. Delta Force was never offered the Osama Bin Laden raid. Delta Force didn't turn down the Osama Bin Laden raid. Nothing like that ever occurred. Nobody went to Delta Force and said, hey, we know where he is. He's in Pakistan. Do you want to go get him? And they said no. In fact, when Delta found out that SEAL Team 6 went, some Delta guys, according to another interview I did, were ready to quit. They were so angry that they didn't get to go. So the idea that Delta turned the mission down is not rooted in any sense of reality whatsoever. So those are the 2 big rumors. SEAL Team 6 won because they were better. Not true whatsoever. Any one of the assault squadrons on SEAL Team 6 or Delta Force could have done it. The result would have been unchanged. The second big rumor is that Delta had the opportunity to do it and chose not to. Obviously, Delta did chase him into the mountains of Tora Bora in 2001. It's completely different. So now that we've dispelled those, let's get into why was SEAL Team 6 chosen and not Delta Force. It's very simple. This is the real reason. I don't know if the government wants people to know this or not, but hey, you're here. It's not classified. We're talking about it, so we're going to get into it. It is called Area of Operations. That is the only reason SEAL Team 6 was chosen over Delta Force. Now, some of you might be saying, what does that mean? Area of Operations means what area of the world or country that you're in or region of a country that you're in, what are you responsible for? SEAL Team 6 essentially dominated Afghanistan during 2002, 2003, forward to about 2011, 2012, really after the drawdown in Iraq happened. A lot of Delta units cycled from Iraq back to Afghanistan. A lot of SEAL Team 6 units cycled out of Afghanistan into Africa. Okay, when the war in Iraq started, Delta essentially exclusively looked at what was going on in Iraq, and that was the Army. The Army was going to dominate the ground. Delta Force was going to dominate the ground in Iraq. In Afghanistan, that became DEVGRU's area of operations for roughly a decade, the decade leading up to the Osama Bin Laden raid, really about 8 years. Now, Delta Force got pulled out of Afghanistan in large numbers by the end of 2002, and they started doing train-ups and work-ups, desert mobility exercises, things of that nature for eventually what became the invasion of Iraq in March of 2003. Think about it this way. SEAL Team 6 had spent a decade fighting in Afghanistan, fighting Al-Qaeda, avenging 9/11, and all the meanwhile, Delta Force had been in Iraq. They were seeing intense combat. They were losing guys. They were taking guys from SEAL Team 6 to augment them. There's some stories out there about that. So they'd been dominating. Right about the time Osama Bin Laden gets found, Delta gets shipped back to Afghanistan, and you see a lot of DEVGRU guys start moving to Africa where things are about to pop off in a big way. Would it have been fair to anyone on SEAL Team 6 if after they spent a decade in Afghanistan fighting the Taliban, fighting Al-Qaeda, that Delta Force comes in at the 11th hour and they take the mission to get Osama Bin Laden? Would that have been fair? No, of course not. Iraq was where Delta really became the household name that it is today, to the extent it is. And I truly believe Delta is the greatest direct action military unit in the history of the world. And quite frankly, I don't even think it's up for debate, but you're free to debate it for itself. If Osama bin Laden had been hiding in Iraq, which obviously he wasn't, but if he had, Delta Force would have taken the mission. If he'd been in Syria, Delta Force would have taken the mission. But he wasn't. He was in Abbottabad, Pakistan, which was right on the Afghan, or not right on, but borders Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Pakistan share a border. It was only fair that the Tier 1 element that had spent 10 years chasing Osama bin Laden, fighting Al-Qaeda, and fighting the Taliban in Afghanistan got the raid to put him down in Pakistan. It's just that simple. There's no conspiracy theory. There's no wild idea that one team was better than the other. In fact, I will tell you for a fact that if Red Squadron from SEAL Team 6 had not conducted the raid, there was a squadron from Delta Force that would have done it. A very specific squadron had already been chosen. Now, what's funny is members of that squadron were not informed of that. They did not know that. They never trained for it, if you will. I do believe Delta Force at the same time was training to nab Muammar Gaddafi, which is a video maybe we'll do another time. But that's it. It was an area of operations thing. It had nothing to do with any of these conspiracies, any of these ideas. One side was better than the other. It just had to do with SEAL Team 6 was covering Afghanistan. Delta was covering Iraq and in Syria, and that's where he was. He was in Pakistan, so they sent SEAL Team 6. It was the right thing to do. It was the fair thing to do. That is according to not me. That is according to guys on Delta. That is according to the intel people. That is according to SEAL Team 6 people. And it is according to another Tier 1 operator from a country I am not allowed to name. It's that simple. Don't listen to the conspiracy theories. There's nothing to it. It all had to do with area of operations. If you stuck around this far, it means you liked the video. So please, please, please hit like and subscribe and comment with what you think about Delta Force versus SEAL Team 6.